Hi everyone, welcome back to Campfire Conversations. I'm again here with Claire Warden, and on the UK study tour we were fortunate to be taken to the Cranog, which is an Iron Age example of house and living back from thousands of years ago. I wanted to talk to you, Claire, about what is the importance of our heritage and ancestry in nature connection.
Well, I think if I start off by really talking about the fact that my views of things is that we've got relational ontology, and that basically means that my worldview is about relationships, and that means that we've got the here and now, we've got the previous, and we've got the future. But I would argue that actually through nature we're actually connected to all of those facets. And that means therefore that when you go to somewhere like a Cranog, you have a sense of people, you have a sense of place, as David would talk about, you have an understanding that actually the idea of being and working in this frisson with, this connection with nature, is an ancient art. It's a thing that we've actually lost through our perceptions of what development should be within the human species. So we're not saying that we want to go back and all live in Cranogs, although it's a delightful experience. But actually what we do need to do is to understand that as a human being within this bigger system, we are culturally linked to land. So you've been to Scotland, and the way that we present our learning here in Scotland should be different to the way it is in Australia for you. But underneath it, we have this connection. And that's linking back to traditional indigenous ways of knowing and connecting, which I actually think children are I think children have an intuitive way of understanding that, and they have that as right the way from pre-birth almost.
Yeah, well, we've seen it in children's play that they, start doing all this mark making with different ochres on their faces and start playing. Being cave people, they love doing caveman and territory, definitely, and warfare as well, tribal wars and having different tribes and clans, and love getting into the sort of more primitive grinding of materials and that hunter-gatherer.
Yeah, and nobody's ever taught them that. They've not said, right, now I'm going to teach you this. And that's what I mean, it's this predisposition, it's a genetic hard wiring to some of those roots that we've got from our ancestors that when we engage those and when we notice those, the whole thing just blossoms and grows. And actually, although it looks easier, we've actually been very skillful as a nature pedagogue because we're encouraging and supporting those kinds of moments.
One of my favourite times was when we had a group of 10-year-olds outside and were cooking outside on a fire, and they were building their own little huts and things, and it's like, this is so much fun, we're living like wild people. I think there's also a big culture in that whole survival and the survivor thing in Australia, I know, and here too. But I think a lot of that for kids is about getting back to those ancestral roots and living on the land.
But the only thing I would say is that I think, one of the things we do need to be mindful of, I suppose, is that people don't see the whole nature kindergarten, bush kindy kind of connecting to nature in that way in those wilder spaces as some very alternative thing. And for me, I think it's within everybody. It's everybody in this park. It's everyone around us. So we can take the wild and actually, it sounds ridiculous, but you can actually make it a smaller space. You don't have to climb to the top of a mountain. But for some humans, the jolt and the shift in their thinking has to be an immersion, has to be a taking them out of their day-to-day living into a place of wild so that they can start to unpack and unpeel some of these layers that are masking that deep level connection that we're both talking about.
Yeah. It's not about conquering nature, it's about rediscovering, learning and living within a natural environment.
Absolutely, in that synergistic way that, as I said, is hardwired within us.
Great. Thanks, Claire.
No problem.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.